Hey, it's Doug Belshaw from Dynamic Skillset. Everyone's got things to do, but task apps are really boring. They're just literally a list of things to do, which you're then supposed to check off. Some are gamified, some are colorful, some allow you to add tags and put them in groups and stuff, but they're still really tedious. So, what can we do about that? I've built this thing with Claude Opus 4.6 called ChronoTasker. And this is the idea that you put your tasks onto your working day like a clock. I'm not the first person to do this, but hopefully this works like your brain does, because it definitely works for me. So let me just talk you through this. It's currently 10 to 5 in the afternoon on the Tuesday, the 3rd of March. So I'm just going to add a quick 15-minute task in here. So let's add a task. There we go. And it gets added straight after the current time. And this gets pushed along as the time moves forward. The task gets moved along until I've finished it. I can put another task in. This one's going to be 25 minutes. There we go. And let's say I'm going to have a 5-minute break as well. So there we go. It's just adding these on and building them up. Now, this is syncing with my real calendar. So I really did have a meeting with Stefan at 2:30 today. We end up actually going for a bit longer than that, but you can see that automatically it added a 15-minute break as a buffer after that meeting. And you can change that. Now you can rearrange these, you can put them into different orders. So for example, look, I'm mixing this up and moving them around. And so it's quite basic and easy to use. And in the settings, you can say when your day starts and when it ends. That's like this bit here. So if I change that to 8 o'clock, it would move it further down there. I can move 24 o'clock or 12-hour clock. I can have light or dark system kind of themes. I can do all kinds of stuff. And it also syncs. You see how it says it's online? I'm syncing this between my Android phone, my Linux laptop, and my Mac. And it all just keeps it all in sync together. At the moment, I'm using on localhost, but I've got it deployed to my server as well. Okay, so that's interesting so far, but what else could we do? Well, let's go into demo mode and let me show you. So in this demo mode, you can see that we've got a Pomodoro timer. So a Pomodoro timer is this method where you do 25 minutes, then have a 5-minute break, then 25 minutes, 5-minute break, 25 minutes, and then you have a longer break. So you can start and stop that timer. That's the way that that works. And you can skip and reset. Let me just show you skips, etc. And I can kind of minimize that. And then I've got more options when I add my tasks in. So let's just think about tomorrow. So you can see some things have already been added in here. You can see I've got write a project proposal, and there's some markdown in here. So markdown is where you can add bullet points just by doing easy things like this. If you haven't used it before, it's really easy. So it's got a link in there, all that kind of stuff. It's tagged as important. It's on a fixed time, etc. And it's also available to move to the backlog. So let's just do that. So the backlog is down here. This is stuff that I know that I need to do, but I don't want to put onto any day at the moment. So let's just put this one on and press today. There we go. It gets added on the first chunk where it's going to fit. And then there's a bunch of other things I can do as well. There's adding a break like I did before. But if I click on more options, I can repeat things. Let's say I wanted to plan my day at the end of the day for the next day. So plan tomorrow. And I want to do that every day. And I want to do it at a fixed time. I want to do it at 5 o'clock every single weekday. Okay, so on a Friday, I'd do it for Monday. So fixed time, 1700. There we go. Add that task on. Got it. Okay, and it's going to be on tomorrow and the next day, etc. The other thing I can do is I can move these around, but also on some days, you get towards the end of the day and you're like, I'm never going to get that done. So I'm going to punt it to tomorrow. So let's say design this new landing page, which is this one here. I'm going to move it to another day. I'm going to move it to tomorrow. There we go. Or if I wanted to, I could move it to a particular day like that. And I can delete tasks. If I press it, then it's asked me to confirm. So I can start tagging things. And if I tag things, they'll be the same color, etc. So that's the Pomodoro timer, the repeating tasks, the adding to the backlog, and the moving things to the next day. The other thing which is in the options is I can change the buffer after the meeting, and I can also change my iCal feed URL. Now that sounds like a mouthful, but basically every calendar ever, so Google, Proton, Apple, etc., they all have a link that you can put into here, like a public link. It could be free or busy. You could just be sharing like when you're available, or you could put in your actual events and then they would show up like this, product sync one-to-one with Alex, etc. And then if you put those in, then it'll sync and it'll show up in your calendar. You can also turn on or off that auto advance, the tasks being pushed around the clock. If that's not something that you think is cool, you can turn that off. And you can also turn off the backlog or recurring tasks or whatever it is that you want to do. So I think this is quite cool. I'd love it if you wanted to try it. It's not publicly available at the moment, but enough people want to use it, then I'll make it publicly available. So that is ChronoTasker, and ask me if you've got any questions.